Nirvana speaks the oracle, and I am saved. Thank you, listener, for memory.
It is possible to be possessed and be intelligible. Now, that doesn't mean that Joe Schmo, the Alpha Centaurian Pleiadian discarnate entity, is the one taking over your larynx or your Broca's speech center and sending it out to people. It means that you could just simply be in the state of crucified, so to speak, crucified on the opened upness, the agape, the agapeness of superimposition of surrender to the true unified field. And then still have a voice attached to it, have a tongue attached to it. Lovely, great work if you can get it. But that's my aspiration. That's what I would like to do for the remainder of this incarnation, and what I've been sort of working toward for a number of decades. It interests me more than entity channeling, which I've never done myself, but I have done this other kind of a thing, and that's where my channeling book came from, was way back when I tried to figure out, as a poet and a painter, where's the creative process coming from? Where's the inspiration coming from? If you're inspiro, you're breathing in from where? So I try to tell you. I think the universe, or God, the whole underlying ground of being, is a great quantum coherent field that is the undifferentiated, the Om that is undifferentiated into the differentiatedness. It's just like all these fields of the play of the Lord, or these harmonic resonators or oscillators that are all set at the base state, so they don't differentiate, they don't radiate, they don't discontinuously jump up, from a ground state to an excited state that then in a differentiated way would give you fields and object fields and events and give you something rather than nothing. This is the old Eastern notion that the void, the nothing, has the everything. That's what I'm talking about here. Coming back at another angle, after thousands of years, many of us keep coming back at different angles about it, but it's the same old story. But what I'm talking about now is the possibility of engineering a self-transubstantiation or self-transmutation, or allowing it to happen. It's not so much self, it's surrendering to be able to let it happen to you, to alchemically be sort of retooled to be more coherent. Not only hemisphere synchrony, not only, not the normal neurophysiological correlates we see going with a meditative state or an inspired state, or maybe channeling, or healing state, healer state, but more than that, it's really to the extent to which I can approximate in my own system, in my own consciousness, let's say for now, that which goes with being quantum coherent. I then realize that what meditators used to kill for, consciousness without an object, is actually the undifferentiated state of the consciousness field that doesn't happen to have anything coming, figure out of ground from the underlying, full fathom 5 undifferentiated potentiality of the whole universal. Everything's there. The whole womb, the pregnant womb about fit to burst is there, but it's like there's nothing there because it's undifferentiated. So the differentiation from the undifferentiated state, the creative person knows. They feel inspiration, then they get a few words, a few images, and then thing kind of begins to come forth out of the placenta or the umbilicus of it, and it begins to differentiate out into the poem, the dance, the play, the composition, the musical piece, the movie, whatever it is. And but when you are introspecting, phenomenologically introspecting the taste of it inside yourself, after a while you begin to realize that what you're really in the midst of, in the presence of, or the case of, is the quantum state. And I don't want to get all attached to quantum, it's just the latest vocabulary, but it is what is represented by the wave function before there's a collapse of the wave function. When you collapse the wave function out of the wavical or diffuse spread outness of the superposed phase entangled, non-locally intercorrelated across all its parts and parties and hinterlands, that is until it's a wave function collapse, an entering of a choice, of a consciousness, of a let the games begin, of in the beginning was, from some seat, foci, or an intentional source of consciousness, we'll say human in this case, an experiment, an observational, an intervention, a choice, that there is hitherto an undifferentiated state, and it's all there. Normally the programs from the frame of reference from which, the formulae from which we collapse the wave function is formulaic enough, is consensus reality conditioned enough, is dumbed down, and we don't have any modeling for it or any other experiences with it. So we have what we got at this specific stage of our species and of ourselves as individuals. And so when we collapse the wave function, we get the local tables and shares, we get the local headlines of each emerging day, we get the way our bodies are, we get the perpetuations of our diseases and our limitations. And we're all doing it from essentially the same channel, attending from. The place we attend from, collapse the wave function from, in order to get the attended to get the resultant of the wave function collapse, the particulate state, the micro or macro level of the held still, looks like objectively real irrespective of attending consciousness, but really is deeply, deeply intertwined with the act that brought it forth from the ground of being. And so it's really, and I'm a philosophical idealist. You can read my stuff on the website and see the recordings of other things of mine. And that's lonely business being a philosophical idealist in our culture, in our consensus reality at present, because a philosophical idealist or an idealist claims that, or doesn't claim, you feel it in your bones, you live life as if it's the case, that everything reductionistically is a consciousness field, not billiard balls and turtles all the way down in a Newtonian type of a Descartes way. So anyway, the sleepiness I was referring to earlier, to come full circle, see, you're always connecting in me, but if they don't come out of my mouth overtly, recordably, then people can't track the nonlinearity. The nonlinearity is my modus operandi, essentially, and what it really is like to have the what do you call them, the air traffic controllers. They're up there and they see all the planes all there circling, and they've got to bring them in one at a time. They have to move from simultaneity to linearity. And that's been the story of my life. How to move from the simultaneity and the multidimensionality, and actually the superposing the multi-leveled simultaneous at onceness of all the contents, of all that could be said, of all that could be sung of, that all could be experienced and lived, even if only symbolically. At least it could be experienced and lived and grown from, even if it's subjective or imaginal or symbolically. And so how to get the simultaneity into linearity? The simultaneity is what is the condition of the uncollapsed wave function. It is both the everything and the nothing. It is the void that is the birthing place, the grounds for all possibilities that can be differentiated into actualities and stories told, and prodigal sons getting lost and returning home, and all the stories that can unfold from unevenness and things out of phase with themselves that eventually has to come back to the eventual coherence. So decoherence and out of phaseness and thermodynamic unevennesses and things creates the pouring.
The flood will come, but you must not forget the oracle. You can say